Is William cheating or not? And if he is, does it count? Because they say if the numerator and denominator is the same thing, then it kind of cancel each other out. You know what? Okay, let's talk about it. Tyler Perry's Divorce Sisters, Season 1, Episode 5. We're starting out with Tiffany and Geneva. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. We still at the jail waiting on Naomi to get out. And while Javon is over there trying to figure out what's taking so long, Tiffany is trying to get the scoop on him from Geneva. Geneva is acting like she don't know this man at all. But girl, in the car, he just said that he had a whole photo shoot with you. She acting like she don't know him outside of the courtroom. We all know that's a lie. She knows him biblically. The only thing she tells Tiffany is to be careful. And it's like, girl, what? And Tiffany, stop being so thirsty. You just met this man. You don't even know his phone number. You probably don't even know his last name. So Bridget calls them while they're at the jail, and she tells them that Rashida is pretty much missing. Nobody's been heard from her. She's not answering her phone. And Naomi is on World Star with 17,000 views. They didn't say World Star, but you know. Naomi gets out. She is looking good, and she's complaining about this dress. Like she didn't just saute that lady back at the gala, but you know that's neither here nor there. She is crying about this little hole in her dress or whatever. So we get over there to Bridget's house, and Bridget is thinking out loud about her poor choices in life. She's standing there at her bed, and she is watching this grown ass, unemployed, unmotivated, uneducated, unmedicated, everything except attractive. He's kind of cute. Sleeping in her bed. So she out loud, she's like, "What am I doing?" And I'm like, "Girl, we wondering the same thing." But it turns out he wasn't asleep. He heard her. So he was like, "What?" And she was like, "Oh, nothing. I thought you was asleep." And he was like, "How am I get some sleep and you here making all this noise? You can't do that downstairs." I said, "Oh, the homosexuals have gotten real bold." So Bridget tries to use her little backbone, and she's like, "You need to get up. You need to get a job." And this man basically says that, jobs are lame and they mess with his mental health. So they sit there and they argue back and forth until there's a knock on the door, which he sends Bridget downstairs to get because, he's too tired from playing his video games. So y'all remember Calvin, right? Calvin is that man that called Bridget before the gala and told her that Vaughn quit his job after the first day, after she had put her neck out for him to get this job. Well, he's at the door. And he's at the door because he says Calvin has his key and he doesn't want to have to break in his safe or call a locksmith. Calvin, what kind of safe you got that you can break into, for number one? And number two, who uses a safe with a key? And number three, why on earth would Vaughn have access to the safe on his first day of work? Why does he even know where the key is? Anyway, okay. So Bridget goes back upstairs to wake Vaughn up because he up there snoring like it's been an hour since we saw him last. And he's got an attitude, but he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have nobody's key." So she goes back downstairs to tell Calvin, he said he don't know what you're talking about. He don't have your key. And some kind of way, Calvin is like, you deserve a real man. And she's like, I don't need you to tell me what I deserve. Yes, you do, Bridget. Somebody need to tell you. So Calvin's like, let me talk to him. Because at this point, he's like, I know he got my key. I need to get up there and talk to him. For some reason, I don't know why she did this, but instead of her calling Calvin from the steps, I'm sorry, I keep calling it man Calvin. Instead of her calling Vaughn from the steps to come down, or even going up there and coming down with him, she lets Calvin lead the way to her bedroom. They get in the room, wake Vaughn up again, because the boy is tired. Video games are exhausting. They wake him up again, and he, of course, got an attitude, because he's like, this is my house. Him and Calvin start, they go back and forth. Calvin says something about him letting a woman take care of him. Vaughn gets up out the bed. Calvin pushes him. They end up in an all-out brawl where Bridget gets knocked down. And, Vaughn kind of beat him up a little bit. And right before he was about to bash his head in with some object he found, some decorative object, Bridget stops him. And for some reason, Vaughn gets mad that she stops him, and he says to F both of them. He storms out and he leaves. Bridget, honey, this is the best thing that ever happened to you. Go ahead and change your locks and your phone number. Cut off all contact. Back at Rashida and Jefferson's house, because you know they don't let us stay over there long. They like Steve Harvey and Marjorie, and we be in and out of there. Jeff is sitting on his bed in his little silk pajamas, and he's typing away on his phone, and his son comes in and asks for money. So Jeff makes him ask for it properly. Then he asks him what it's for, and then he still proceeded to refer him to his mother. See, they get on my nerves. The mother who nobody's concerned about. Y'all ain't seen this lady since last night, and you still sending the kids to her. You don't even know where she at. The son goes on about his way, and then Jeff takes a call from a concerned Myra who wants to know how he's feeling and how his hand is doing. And I don't know, something about Myra don't sit well with me, but you know, it's Tyler Perry. They talk about last night the Naomi thing, and then Jeff tells him he has to get dressed and he'll call him from the car. So we get to Naomi's house, and Javon says he's going to call a car. So Tiffany stays outside in the driveway with him. They're flirting a little and, you know, just going back and forth, a little banter here and there. And out the corner of my eye, girl, I see Geneva still standing at the door watching their every move like she's somebody's mama. And I'm like, girl, Tiffany and Javon exchange numbers or whatever, and I can see, you know, Geneva still staring at them. And eventually she's like, Tiffany, I can use some help in here. Girl, you're not even in there. You haven't even gone in the house yet. How do you know you need help? You haven't even checked on Naomi. You know Naomi in there getting drunk because that's what she does. But you out here worried about these two grown people. So Naomi's house is still trash because instead of her going home to clean up after the people came and repoed her jewelry, her cars, and everything else and flipped her house upside down, she decided to change clothes and go to the gala anyway. Naomi already has a drink in her hand. Here she got to hold the decanter in her hand. She's still upset about what Franklin did, and she mentions that they also took her safe. And at this point, I'm just like, girl, what did you do to Franklin? Like, this man can't be this evil, or can he? I don't know. I've never encountered that. So Tiffany, Geneva, and Naomi are sitting on the couch when Bridget walks in. And she like, what the hell happened here? Bridget, read the room. Sit down. Sit quiet. This is why they don't tell you nothing. This is why they don't let you in. You just read the room. Sit down, sit quiet. So she asked Naomi, are you okay? And Naomi basically was like, look, that's a stupid question. You know I'm not okay. And honestly, I don't know why Bridget keep going around these people. They don't like you. You're not one of the friends. So Naomi starts naming everything that they took and crying and carrying on. And Geneva takes the drinks from her, the drink and the decanter from her. And she's like, so Rashida's not going to call? Naomi's worried about Rashida calling her. And I'm like, listen, honey, sometimes you are not the only person in the friend group who have problems. Like, everybody can't stop, drop, and roll because you won't leave these people alone. Or because you went to jail for doing something because you couldn't control your emotions. Now she's talking about suing Franklin again and the white lady. So Bridget says something to comfort her, and she tells her, listen, you don't know nothing. You've never been married, and you over there take care of that kid, and you can't even take care of yourself. And I was like, ooh, she been feeling like that. So she tried to, you know, apologize or whatever, but no. You already said it. The cat's out the bag. So Geneva is trying to explain to Naomi that she's gone viral and she needs to chill. And Naomi's like, well, once they hear my side, no, Naomi, no, you don't, no, they don't care about your side. They saw what they saw. So when Tiffany, Geneva, and Bridget get in the driveway, because they're leaving Naomi home alone, knowing she needs around the clock care and supervision, Tiffany gets a text from Javon, and girl, Geneva is pretty much refusing to let her get in her car. Like, she's now, granted, her car is at the church, and Bridget works at the church, so I'm not sure why she wanted to drive with Geneva anyway. But Geneva's like, I got private calls I got to make. Girl, you got a whole office. You can drop her off and still make a private call. So Tiffany and Bridget are in the car, and Tiffany's just acting like she is so in love with Javon. And again, you just got his phone number today, and you don't know his last name. Well, I don't know if you know it or not, but you know. And then Bridget comes to the realization that Vaughn is way too young for her. Shocker. So she tells Bridget tells Tiffany about the fight, and Tiffany tells her that Calvin could have easily hurt Vaughn because he's a professional boxer. And I would have never pulled that out of that scene because he didn't look like a professional or anything. Like you don't have to fight full force, but you could have got that man off of you. Hold on. So back at Naomi's house that she still has not cleaned, she is in this dominatrix leather ones. I don't know what it is, but she's on the phone calling the male prostitute, and basically she is asking him how far he can go to help her. And he like, listen, if it's that deep, we don't need to talk on the phone. I'll see you in an hour. She like, no, you got 20 minutes. Then we get back over there to these church people house, and now the daughter is looking for her mama. And again, nobody is concerned. So Jeff is like, well, maybe she did this, or maybe she did that. Maybe she's here, maybe she's there, maybe she's on the ceiling. I don't know. And Kelly was like, this is what you do, when you don't want to lie. And I can see that. And then she says, well, if y'all are getting divorced, I want to stay with you. And I was like, wait, what? And that's the problem when you have one parent that's not really involved in the day to day of the children. They gravitate towards that parent because they're not the disciplinarian. They're the fun parent. Back at Naomi's house again, the male prostitute shows up, and Naomi done, y'all, Naomi done asked this man to take her husband out off the planet. She said, "Now he's still gonna be on the." Never mind. This is just dumb. And I need more backstory into this marriage because there is no way you this mad about this man leaving you. You willing to put your freedom on the line for a broken heart, a painting, and a safe. Be for real. So back over there with the church people, Kelly and her brother are going outside to wait for the bus, and they notice their mama is still in this car. She's been in this car since last night. And Kelly is instantly concerned, and she's like, Mom, what's wrong? What happened? And Rashida's like, y'all go. I'm good. I just need a minute. And the little boy don't care nothing about that. He like, listen, I need some money. And she like, look, just go. And she ends up yelling at them to go because they won't leave the car. And they back off. They walk towards the bus stop. Now we over here at Anika's school, and Geneva is doing a stakeout in the parking lot watching William give this white lady some plastic flowers. And to me, it seemed innocent enough. I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't impressive. It wasn't roses. It was some little plastic looking yellow flowers. They weren't in anything, no paper, no vase, no nothing. It was innocent enough to me. But while she's watching him, trying to catch him in a lie, she is on the phone with Javon, who is basically telling her that he'll end this thing with Tiffany if she says the word. She refuses to say the word because, like Rashida said, she likes drama. Back at the pastor's in the first lady's house, this empty school bus comes by. Not even their kids are on it. But Jeff comes out of the house and realizes Rashida has been in this car all night. So she is, he's like, babe, what's wrong? He's acting concerned. You weren't concerned when you didn't know where she was. So he's like, what's going on? She's like, you didn't open the door for me. She's all, teary-eyed crying. And it's a bit dramatic for, a door. He is not wrapping his head around the concept. She like, you didn't open the door for me. And this man said, baby, it's just the door. It's an electric car. Look, you just press this button right here. And I ain't gonna lie, that kind of took me a little bit. He didn't get it. So he gets out, he opens the door, and he's like, it's just the door. And she gets to yelling about how it's not just a door, and it's a representation of their marriage at this point. And he doesn't see her, he doesn't love her. And she's yelling, and he immediately looks around to see if the neighbors are watching, if anybody can see them. And she's like, that's what I'm talking about. You only worried about this. And then his phone starts ringing. And she's like, you know what? Just get it. Just get it. He patting himself down. He looking for the phone. She snatches it out of his jacket. And Myron on that phone. And he said, before anybody could say anything, he said, are you in the car, babe? Can you talk? Lord help me. Because Tyler Perry left us hanging right there. That was the end of this episode. See you in the next one.